The story begins with a man dragging a gorgeous young woman with her hands tied, ready to slice her throat open with a cleaver. Meanwhile, two cops, Frank and Spivey, were sitting inside their patrol car, having lunch in peace. A fly kept annoying them, so Frank smashed it. Later he realized he could have just opened the window and the fly would have flown out anyway. Right then, Frank stepped out of the car and saw that same man about to kill the girl. Frank rushed in and shouted to let her go, but the man said, "It's too late. You have no idea what she is." He raised the cleaver to chop her head off, but before he could, Frank shot him dead. When Frank checked the dying man, the guy grabbed his shirt with his last breath and whispered one final word: "Jennifer." Frank turned to help the girl, but suddenly jumped back. Her eyes were pitch black. For a moment, even Frank was freaked out, but then his attention drifted to her extremely attractive body. As he tried to free her, her sharp nail scratched his hand. Once she was loose, she clung tightly to Frank, way too tightly, and even though her face looked disturbingly deformed, Frank felt something weird pulling him toward her. He couldn't ignore it. He picked her up in his arms and carried her straight to the police station. She didn't want to leave him and kept reaching out like she was attached to him. Despite her horrific face, Frank didn't seem bothered anymore. In fact, she even gave him a flirty little signal before leaving his side. Frank went home after that. Outside, the neighbor girl, Amy, was playing around. Inside, Frank's family, his wife Ruby, and their son Pete were waiting for dinner. As Frank ate, he noticed the scratch on his hand was already rotting. Ruby tried reassuring him it was nothing, but he snapped at her instead. He went to clean the wound and sucked out the dirty blood himself, which was disgusting. Later, when he got to the bedroom, Ruby was in a romantic mood, but Frank couldn't stop imagining that girl, or more specifically, her perfect body. His imagination got so wild that Ruby pushed him away and kicked him out of the room. The next morning, he met the same officer who questioned the girl. She explained the girl's name was Jennifer, found from a note in that man's pocket, and the same name he gasped before dying. Jennifer can't speak, possibly mentally disabled, and her disfigured face, no one knows if it's from birth or something else. And the man who tried to kill her? A wealthy businessman, which definitely didn't match how he looked. Frank took this info and headed straight to the asylum. Jennifer was being bathed there. The moment she saw Frank, she rushed completely without clothes into his arms, hugging him tight. Even the staff there was creepily talking about her body. That was it for Frank. He decided she couldn't stay there. He took her home. Ruby and Pete were asleep, so he set Jennifer up on the couch. She thanked him, kissing his hand, getting even more intimate, which made Frank very uncomfortable, yet again weirdly drawn in. He told her to sleep and headed upstairs himself. Later that night, everyone was asleep, except Jennifer and Ruby's cat. The moment Jennifer heard the cat meowing, she slowly walked upstairs. The cat tried to scare her, but instead, Jennifer scared the cat away. Meanwhile, Frank was lost in his dream. And yes, he was dreaming about Jennifer. In his imagination, she had a normal and beautiful face. If she really looked like that, Frank would have left Ruby long ago. Because the kind of attachment Jennifer gave him, it felt completely different. And like we saw, that was just one form of hers. Frank still had no idea how terrifying she could truly become. When Frank woke up, Jennifer was inside his bedroom again, completely undressed. She tried to get close to him, but the moment Ruby saw her, she screamed so loudly that even Jennifer screamed back in fear. Frank tried to calm her, but then Pete showed up. And just like his mom, first he freaked out at Jennifer's horrifying face. Then his reaction suddenly shifted when he saw her body. Frank told Ruby, "Just let her stay for tonight. Tomorrow, I'll find another place for her." But Ruby refused to listen. That's when Jennifer forcefully kissed Ruby. Not lovingly, she bit Ruby's lips. Before she could turn Ruby's lips into her own twisted version, Frank pulled her away. Ruby hated her lips being messed up like that, and she passed out instantly. The next day, Frank left the house with Jennifer to find her a new place. They didn't get a house, but Frank got exactly what his dirty mind wanted. Jennifer seduced him right inside the car, and they had a wild moment, with her hair covering her face, of course. That night, Frank brought her back home again. Ruby refused to let her inside, but while they argued, Jennifer quietly slipped inside anyway. Their argument got loud enough that little Amy, their neighbor's daughter, came outside to check what was happening. Frank begged Ruby, just one more night. But before they could settle anything, Jennifer created a nightmare. She had torn apart Ruby's cat and was happily eating it. When they ran upstairs, she looked like she was enjoying a fine dinner, with the most innocent little smile on her face. She even offered some to Frank, but for some reason, he didn't take a bite. Maybe it wasn't tasty enough for him, but her body was more than enough. So he let her finish her meal quietly. That same night, Ruby grabbed Pete and left the house. Frank's happy home was now destroyed, but he wasn't bothered at all because he still had Jennifer, and she gave him the attention like a child. And the intimacy like Ruby never could. And the monster side, yeah, we know that too. Sorry, qualities, right? Frank yelled at her and went to bed. Jennifer shrank back like a scared child. But moments later, she came right back to seduce him again. And Frank's rule was simple. Even if the home is gone, the romance must continue. And what's crazier, the same mouth that was chewing on cat intestines was now kissing Frank. And this shameless man didn't care one bit. The next morning, Amy was playing outside. Jennifer slowly approached her, but Amy didn't scream. She actually asked if Jennifer was okay. And Jennifer, well, we know exactly what she was thinking. Her mouth drooling like a waterfall while staring at Amy. Later that night, Frank stumbled home after drinking, and the moment he walked in, all the alcohol vanished from his system, because Jennifer had ripped open Amy and was eating her internal organs too. Frank could have stopped all this. He had warning signs, but he was too blinded by Jennifer's body to listen. Now he faced the consequences, and he could easily be blamed as the murderer too. Jennifer entered his life and truly changed it, just not the way he wanted. In anger, he tried to choke her, but couldn't finish it. And she still clung onto him like nothing was wrong. Fed up with everything, the next day Frank went to a carnival. He made a deal with the owner, gave him his house keys and some money to kidnap Jennifer. The carnival guy could even display her in his freak show if he wanted. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, do me a tiny favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to The Chilling Hour. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and your tap can literally push us there today. Alright, back to the story. When Frank got home that evening, the whole place was silent. Jennifer was nowhere to be found, and that actually made Frank really happy for a moment. But the second he opened the fridge to grab a beer, that happiness disappeared instantly, because inside the fridge was the dead body of the carnival owner. Well, at least Jennifer had finally learned how to store her food. Frank now understood that he could never get rid of Jennifer. If this kept going, he would lose his mind for sure. He was laughing and crying at the same time, and seeing him smile, innocent angel Jennifer also looked thrilled with joy. After that, Frank buried the bodies in his backyard. Then he took Jennifer to a remote cabin so she wouldn't hurt anyone else, and so he could keep living with her peacefully. Because their romance was still going strong. You get it now, why he just can't kill her, right? The next day, he went to a nearby town looking for a job, and he actually found one. At a store owned by a woman named Rose, who also had a son named Jack. Frank worked all day, and every night he brought meat back home for Jennifer so she could satisfy her hunger. But one hunger of hers never really ended. Since Frank came home exhausted every night and fell asleep instantly, Jennifer's spell on him was fading. So one day, she followed him all the way to that store. And when she saw Frank with a woman even more attractive than herself, jealousy lit a fire inside her. She wanted revenge. She tracked Jack to a party and trapped him easily with her beautiful body. Yeah, that same physical desire. She lured him into the woods and then strangled him to death. Meanwhile, when Frank returned to the cabin, Jennifer was missing. As he searched, he went into the basement, and there she was, eating Jack. Right then, Frank finally realized that a normal life with Jennifer was impossible, so he tied her hands and dragged her outside to kill her. And just like that, the story came full circle. Exactly what happened in the beginning with that businessman. Frank was about to cut off her head, but suddenly a hunter appeared and shot him. As Frank took his final breaths, the last word that came from his mouth was, "Jennifer." The hunter freed Jennifer, and she immediately showed the same attachment toward him. And now, this terrifying cycle will begin again. And with that, this story ends. You probably felt this story was already dark and unsettling, but it hits even deeper when you look closely. Right at the beginning, remember that fly? Frank could have just opened the window and let it go. He did open the window, but only after killing it. Why? Because eliminating what bothers him is easier than showing patience. Destruction is his first instinct. And the same exact choice appeared again when Jennifer entered his life. He could have walked away, he could have left her at the asylum, or handed her to someone else. But no, he kept her close, not because she was beautiful, but because she gave herself to him completely. Her devotion made him feel wanted, powerful, desired. Jennifer only has two instincts: feed and attach. That's it. Whoever is stronger becomes her protector, whoever is weaker becomes her meal. No manipulation, no evil motives, just raw animal nature inside a human body. Meanwhile, Frank tolerated every horrific thing she did because she fulfilled his desires. The same man who crushed a harmless fly without hesitation suddenly endured murder after murder as long as he got what he wanted from her. Jennifer's actions constantly force us to question our feelings. Should we call her a monster? Or should we feel sorry for her because she doesn't understand good or bad at all? Even the soundtrack, that soft, innocent music playing around her, keeps reminding us that she's not pretending. She truly doesn't know any better. To her, Frank wasn't a partner. She wanted a master, someone to rely on completely. And when Frank failed to stay hers alone, jealousy kicked in. Real emotions, real pain, all expressed in her brutal, primal way. In the end, when Frank tried to kill her, she simply shifted to the next strong protector, the hunter. And the horrifying cycle begins all over again. Because what's normal to Jennifer is monstrous to us. The truth is, Jennifer isn't the villain here. The darkest part of this story is how far a human will go when desire replaces conscience. And guys, if you enjoyed this breakdown and appreciate the effort that goes into these videos, do me a huge favor, smash that like button and hit subscribe to help the Chilling Hour reach that first 1,000 subscribers. Let's make it happen, right now. We've got even more insane, mind-bending movie stories coming your way. So stay tuned and keep watching the Chilling Hour.